Our second inductee in the officials category is Jim Weinzierl of Park Rapids. Jim is a native of Waconia who played an array of sports, including sandlot baseball, on the west side of town. Whenever the spirit moved he and his friends, they would jump on their bikes and spend the day exploring the 11-mile loop around the lake.
It was great in Waconia. We had great coaches, and you know, everybody got along. We had no issues at that particular time. There were some volatile issues in society at that time in the late 60s. Okay, lots of stuff going on that that affected a lot of people across the state and the country. But anyway, Waconia was just a great place to grow up.
Weinzierl played basketball in college and moved into education and coaching. He was the head basketball coach for 8 years before moving to Park Rapids. He coached for 2 more years before stepping away for health reasons.
Then I developed some high blood pressure, and so I stepped back from the coaching part. But I wanted to stay with this, with basketball. I played college basketball. I coached the high school stuff, and so I became an official back in 1980. And people say, "How can you step into officiating with high blood pressure and not?" And what helped me there is that I'm in a different gym every night. You know, I didn't have to worry about one-loss record. Didn't have to worry about playing in the summer and off season and all that kind of stuff for kids. So we had successful teams during that time, but I just stepped into the officiating part because I wanted to stay with the game.
Staying with the game and giving back became the hallmark of what would become his Hall of Fame career. His journey as an official would see him work more than 1,800 high school varsity games. He made 23 appearances in the league state tournaments, and he worked 10 championship games. None of those championship games was more meaningful when he made history by officiating a basketball championship game with his sons, Ryan and Scott, in 2013.
The number one game that sticks in my mind was, when we have 2 sons, Ryan and Scott, and they both got into the officiating world. And when they started, I had them going right while they were going to college. And I remember each one of them the first time we got into our very first game together. We were in the locker room, and I said, "I'm your dad. When we walk on the floor, I'm your partner. And I'm not going to bail you out. If you're going to have to deal with coaches or whatever, you're on your own. And when we walk off the floor, I'm back being your dad again." Okay, and it worked out really well that way. They made their own way and in the officiating world.
St. Paul's Harry Kitts, a Hall of Fame inductee in 2017 as an official, says Weinzierl was an incredible ambassador of officiating.
Well, first of all, I wanted to be 6'2" like he is, or 6'3" or 6'4", whatever it was. Somehow being 5'8" and a basketball referee, I'm not sure that is where you want to be, but I always enjoyed watching Jim because everything was under control. There wasn't anything he hadn't seen before. There wasn't anything new. If somebody tried to do something that was new, if it was okay, it worked. If it wasn't okay, he took care of it. He was just that good.
In addition to working games to ensure that participants had the opportunity to play, he went above and beyond to ensure that officiating would remain a strong avocation. For the past 26 years, he has served as the league's Northwest Minnesota Officials Coordinator and Rules Clinician, a league observer, and a role of the league state tournament selection committee.
Well, one of the things that in the leadership end of things here, as I look at my cheat sheet here, is that Jim was an observer for 20-some years. He was on the selection committee for 20-some years. He was the 8A executive secretary for 13, 14 years, whatever it was. So he has experience on everything. That's the legacy I think that Jim Weinzierl leaves, is that he was multifaceted. There was many things that he could do, and he did them all well.
Weinzierl is retiring at the end of the school year after serving for the past 13 years as the Region 8A Executive Secretary. That geographic region is one of the largest in Minnesota, and it covers more than 40 schools. His influence extends beyond the playing field, where he has also created participation and excellence through the fine arts of music, speech, debate, and one-act play.
Yeah, there's obviously lots of people to thank to get to this point and be included with the group of people that are here today that are being inducted. I'm humbled. But the number one person is Candy. She's always been there. And when I got into the, when you're an official or a coach, you're not at home very often. There's lots of meals, lots of suppers where you're leaving your kids to go be with somebody else's kids. And Candy's always been supportive of that. And she knows what it takes to be a referee. Every time I'd come home after a game, she'd be up. First question, how'd your game go? Knowing how games can go. She'd always say, how'd your game go? So she was very supportive, and I can't thank Candy enough for this. And everything that I've done. I've basically been a kid all my life.